Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 30th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. We're having a good Saturday so far. I will say I woke up kind of grumpy. My upstairs neighbors decided to, as I was going to sleep, which was like around maybe around 1 o'clock or so, they were like stumping around upstairs. I was like, I don't know why they could be doing that at this hour, but okay. I was able to fall asleep. Then I want to say I think I woke up maybe about, I don't know, an hour or so before I really wanted to, and I just hear this like loud raucous music. And I'm like, okay, let me go to the restroom. I, do that. And then I go back to sleep real quick. But I'm, woken up and I'm like, why is this happening? Like, what is going on? And maybe about 30 minutes or so after I had like officially gotten up, the music stops and they're just going to bed. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's perfect timing. Love that for me. Overall, though, I did sleep pretty well, and it's around the amount of time that I was planning on sleeping or usually get. So it worked out. It all lined up in the end. But I was just like, what's going on upstairs? What's that all about? But hey, it is what it is. That is having neighbors in an apartment complex. What can you do? But we got up and we got laundry together. We did that. I was a little bit bummed because I had to pay extra because all of the washers that I would usually go for were taken up, and I had gotten there like right on time. I was like, oh, that sucks. But I paid for a bigger one. I was able to get my laundry done in a pretty efficient time and fashion, so that was good. Post that, we went to the gym after we got laundry, all home and folded up and everything. We went to the gym and did it a little bit different today. I didn't max out. I didn't want to try to go for any PRs or anything like that. I just went for like 225 pretty much across the board in terms of my like Smith machine exercises. Then I did like 60 on free weights, just something lighter. And the reason for that was I was starting to really feel the wear on my back again, in like a couple different spots. And I said, okay, let's just take a little bit of a break. Maybe for the rest of this weekend, maybe even next weekend, we just kind of go for something heavy, but not as heavy as we, have been, because I think it's just good to take a break. So overall, though, the workout was good. I feel like it had a good pump, so that was nice. And I feel like I also made it up for it in like a couple extra sets with lighter weight, so that was good. That was nice. A little bit of balance there. So yeah, overall, we had a good workout session. I felt way more fresh for it today as opposed to yesterday, even though, like I said, we didn't go for any max out. It just overall felt better. So that was nice. I didn't have that urge to, like, I'm not doing cardio. I'm not doing cardio. Like, everything flowed together. So that was good. So yeah, post the gym, we are back home. We are yapping it out right now, getting ready to get into some news. So let's go ahead and do our startup and get to that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I will say a bit of a rub was also like at the start of the day. It felt like I had some kind of allergies or something. My guess is it's related to the season change that's kind of happening. We're getting a bit of a false summer or something, if you will, false fall. Yeah, false fall, if you will. It's been a little bit cooler, which I mean, hey, I'll take it. I like being able to wear a hoodie, put some layers back on. That's nice. Keep the shorts. So good little balance there. But my body always reacts in like a negative way whenever it goes from hot to cold, cold to hot. So that's no fun. But yeah, overall though, feeling better now. Ooh. All right, all right, all right. Let's get into some news from NPR. Houthi rebels say Israeli strike. Well, let me run that back. Houthi rebels say Israeli airstrike killed their prime minister in Yemen's capital. The Iranian-backed Houthis said Saturday an Israeli airstrike killed the prime minister of the rebel-controlled government in the Yemeni capital, Sana'a. Ahmad al-Rawawi was killed in a Thursday strike in Sana'a, along with a number of ministers, the rebels said in a statement. The Israeli military said that it precisely struck a Houthi terrorist regime military target in the area of Sana'a in Yemen. Al-Rawawi, who served as the prime minister to the Houthi-led government since August of 2024, was targeted along with other members of his Houthi-controlled government during a routine workshop held by the government to evaluate its activities and performance over the past year, the rebels' statement said. I'm going to add this part too. Earlier in the week, Israeli strikes hit multiple areas across Sana'a, killing at least 10 people and wounding 102 others, according to the Houthi-run health ministry and government officials. So this was something that, I was caught by surprise just because, usually you don't hear a prime minister killed, every day. But, I know that the tit for tat back and forth is an ongoing thing. And sometimes, I miss a little bit. And so I was like, okay, well, let me, go ahead and catch up, since apparently that was a major strike from Thursday and I hadn't even heard about it. So, we're starting off with that. Let's move on, though, to an update out of Tennessee, which, to me, this is a grim update. I'm very upset to be bringing back this news. It's a story that I thought was done. I thought it was over. And, we were angry about it. We shed some tears about it. And, I was ready just to call it done. But sometimes, things, get peeled back and we got to go right back into the mall. So let's go ahead and let's start here from the Associated Press. New trial ordered for 3 Memphis ex-officers in connection with the beating death of Tyree Nichols. So I think I'm going to read a good chunk of this article. A judge ordered a new trial Thursday for 3 former Memphis police officers who were convicted of federal charges in the fatal beating of Tyree Nichols, after defense lawyers argued that another judge who presided over the trial was biased in his belief that at least one of the men was in a gang. U.S. District Judge Cheryl H. Littman issued the order for a new trial for Tadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith, who were found guilty in October of 2024 of obstruction of justice through witness tampering. The ruling marks the latest setback for prosecutors in a case that shocked the country when videos were released showing officers violently kicking and punching Nichols during a traffic stop. The officers, who have been granted a new trial in the federal case, were acquitted of state murder charges in May. And last year, federal prosecutors were unable to secure convictions on the most severe counts against Bean and Smith. So, hence why I was upset, because, this is something that was literally, we had camera footage of them doing this. And they were able to, yes, they were serving some time, but they were able to beat some of the more serious charges of the shit. And I thought that was crazy and egregious. But now we're looking at this potentially getting completely, wheeled back. So, let's continue. 2 other officers charged, Emmett Martin and Desmond Mills Jr., pleaded guilty before the federal trial. Littman took over the case in June after U.S. District Judge Mark S. Norris, who presided over the case in the trial, recused himself days before the sentencings for the 5 officers. In a statement shared by his judicial office Thursday, Norris said, "Because of the code of judicial conduct, I cannot make a statement on this matter." In her order, Littman cited a notice filed by the U.S. Attorney's Office saying Norris expressed a theory that at least one of the officers was in a gang. Now, this is something I didn't follow or see, so I don't really, and maybe I'm just biased against it, I didn't see how this plays a big role in how the trial goes and how it flows, but, this was something that apparently was floated. The notice discussed an incident in which Norris's law clerk was shot during a car theft days after the trial ended. The clerk was staying at the home of another law clerk who had previously worked for Norris on the Nichols case, it said. The notice also said police investigators believe some juveniles committed the shooting, that Norris wanted those responsible held accountable, and that he evidenced reasonable frustration with the police investigation. Norris met with the U.S. Attorney's Office and a FBI agent who explained why no federal charges would be brought in the clerk's shooting. Norris indicated that he believed at least one of the former officers was in a gang and that it was responsible for the shooting, the notice said. It also said the U.S. attorney stated that Norris told those present that the clerk had been seen by one or more of the defendants during the trial. An assistant U.S. attorney who attended the May 30th meeting also said she remembered that Norris told her he could not meet with the police to give a statement because the department was infiltrated to the top with gang members. The notice said, "This is such a weird twist. Like, I'm gotta be honest. I'm very confused by it. Like this whole thread that I guess is getting run behind the scenes by the judge." Um, and I mean, I'm gonna put it on the table here. I'm gonna say it. This is just my opinion, how I'm viewing it. Is this racist? Like, it seems so strange that he's like, well, this person's a gang member. And don't get me wrong, I'm not standing up for this fucking thug of a fucking cop. He sure sure shit moves like a gang member. And I mean, you really could just say all cops are a gang. So I mean, like, but that's not what he's trying to say. He's trying to say like, no. This is an individual who I think is in a gang, who's doing gang affiliated shit, and I don't want to talk to these guys because I think that's who we're fucking with here. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to, allege that. So, like I said, this whole thing is throwing me for a loop, but this is the reason why we are going back to retry this case. Bean, Haley, and Smith filed motions seeking a new trial, arguing that Norris was biased and violated their rights to due process by presiding over the case. Smith's lawyer said there was no suggestion or one hint in the federal discovery process or the federal trial that any defendant or any member of the Memphis Police Department was in any way affiliated with an illegal street gang, either through membership or relationship. Haley's lawyer wrote that Judge Norris made the gang statements on at least 2 occasions, demonstrating that it is a firmly held belief, not an offhand remark. Littman also unsealed several filings made before and after Norris recused himself. In one of them, federal prosecutors argued that there was no evidence that he harbored any bias before or during the trial, let alone the type of extreme bias that would warrant the extraordinary remedy of a new trial. Littman found that while a review showed Norris's decisions throughout the trial were sound, fair, and grounded firmly in the law, a new trial is necessary because the risk of bias here is too high to be constitutionally tolerable. A date for the retrial has not been set. Littman ordered lawyers to submit positions on what charges they believe need to be tried. So yeah, I mean, this is a whole fucking quagmire. We are definitely going to be coming back to the story yet again, which I'm so surprised to be saying, but it is what it is. That's just how the fucking cookie crumbles, I fucking guess. So yeah, I mean, I imagine we'll be back with more details and things of that nature in the future. But let's take it to a local story. Let's talk about Hamilton. From the Cincinnati.com, or I'm sorry, from the Inquirer. Let me say it correctly. Human bones found in Hamilton sewer during maintenance work, coroner's office says. Human bones were found this week in the Hamilton sewer system, according to the Butler County Coroner's Office, while contractors were doing routine maintenance and inspections of the storm sewer systems. They came across the human bones near the intersection of 3rd and Market Streets on August 27th, Inquirer media partner Fox 19 reports. Martin Schneider, administrator for the Butler County Coroner's Office, said there was no timeline for when they will identify the bones or have more information. It's too early to tell the sex or age of the person, he said. So yeah, I mean, there's not much details here. I'm just saying we found some bones in the sewer, and that's a little freaky. That's a little weird. I remember my friend told me a story about, this is like way before my time, and I've mentioned this story before, but how there was like literally like bones in the little lake that was found one time from like a fucking murder situation, and I was like, oh my god, that's so spooky. But yeah, so for some reason this felt similar to that. So here we are. If I do hear anything, it might not be anytime soon, but I'll definitely come back with an update. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting happening, and I figured I'd go ahead and cover it. And it's also local. You know, I love a good local yokel story. Anyway, we're gonna close out with a recall. We gotta get cracking. But wait. Let me go ahead and take my last break, and then we'll close it out. Sorry, I should not do all these mouth sounds, but I can't help myself. Whew. Our last story comes from Fast Company. Eggs recalled after salmonella outbreak sickens nearly 100 people. Full list of products to avoid. A salmonella outbreak linked to recalled eggs has infected at least 95 people, mostly in California. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, the illness has occurred across at least 14 states. 73 of the illnesses have been in California, and 18 people have been hospitalized. No deaths have been reported. Here's what to know. So that's good that there's been no deaths. Country Eggs LLC, a Lucerne Valley, California company, issued a recall for its large brown, cage-free Sunshine Yolks eggs on August 27th. The recall came after the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, alerted the company of possible contamination. The recall notice stated that the eggs were delivered to stores in both California and Nevada, and the affected brands include Nagatoshi Produce, Misusho, I'm just fucking that all the way up. Misusho, that's what we're gonna go with. Mea culpa. Nijiya Markets, and Country Eggs. Notably, some of the recalled products are still current. According to the notice, they have the code CA-7695 along with sell-by dates ranging from July 1st to September 18th, 2025. It is in up to 12 states. I'm not going to list them all here, but buyer beware. Be careful if you've purchased any of these kind of eggs. You go through the usual fucking channels here. You can go back to the store, hopefully get a return of some sort, throw them out, whatever. Just stay safe. Be well. Definitely don't want to, have anybody getting the sicky icky salmonella or whatever, you know what I mean? So, just be careful out there. Anyway, that's really it. That's all I have for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/News. Become a newsie today. Roll call is coming up soon. I shout you out. Plug a project if you like. This is something special for the people who like to support the effort, support the project. I really do. Really appreciate that. Really love y'all for that. Anyway, Fruist, hit me up as andrews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. All the stars are appreciated. But no matter what, I really just appreciate you just hanging out, just kicking it, just listening to me yap. That's always pretty cool. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.